Aloha and welcome to another episode of the Rainbow Wrap Up. And this week, I got our boy Sean Eyman back in the house. How's it going, Sean?
What's up, everybody? What's up, Wayne?
I'm doing good because I not only got you, but I got our very good friend, the one and only Laulauhead, Shane Agno. What's up, brother Shane?
Hey, what's up, Warrior Nation? Good to see my boys. Yeah, sheesh. Good to see my boys. And as always, thanks for having me, my man.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining another week of Rainbow Warrior football. For the three of us, we're just normal fans, just everyday fans here. So we deal with the pain of the losses and the the trauma that comes from that we have to endure and have been our whole life. So we kind of are used to it. We have to say, as UH fans, we're kind of used to it. That's why I don't feel bad for admire as much the bigger. We're the best fans. We're the hardest working fans, man. We have to deal with the most. Not only have to travel the furthest, but we got to deal with the hardships. And here we are again with hardship. 1-3, very winnable game this past week against the defending conference champions. And we put up a very admirable fight. And the numbers also showed that we put up some things to look forward to. But the important number was the score. And that unfortunately did not go in our favor once again. It was a close game and we all said it would be close. And Sean Eyman predicted that the Spartans would win by 1 point and they ended up winning by 4. But since he was the closest, Sean, what is your assessment of this game? And what are your initial reaction once the clock hit 0?
It was tough. I feel like we were the better team, but 22 punts. That was kind of brutal. It was brutal to watch. And we had that game a couple years ago where there weren't any punts. So this was kind of the complete opposite of that.
But good defense, right? We held them to 200 yards. I'm going to put that out there. We held them to the lowest output, right? San Jose State, 209 yards or something of offense.
But yeah, with a couple days to reflect on that, how many balls did they drop, So, it looks good on paper, but a lot of it was kind of they didn't take advantage of the situation. So, the defense did play better than the other games. So, that was good to see.
You said that we would be 1-3. Like I said, before the season, Sean was the only one that correctly predicted our record up to now, which was 1-3. I said a 3-1. I believe I was a 3-1. So, I'm out of it. Don't ever ask me to pick a game on UH forever. Never, obviously. Because my heart clearly bleeds too much because I didn't see this coming even because and you know what, it's hard to win games, right? You can get close, but you got to do the extra, and it's just something that was missing. And Coach Graham said that it was a tough locker room, whatever that meant. And so we have to figure out, what is that, a tougher than hell locker room or just a simply tough locker room? And I am assuming it is the prior, because I know there is a lot of words being flung by fans and coaches and players and former players and even on the internet, which I'm not going to get into, but I thought it's an easy time too for alums who played in the program, which I shout out the alums, but also the alums. I really need you guys to come. You got to be at the games. You got to be supportive. You got to give money. That's your job too as an alum. And I'm calling out because I'm a former college athlete who gives money to my team that I've never seen play since I've left New York. That's literally how loyal I believe. That's my team. I wore the uniform. So you need to be that loyal to your team as well. And that's just me, because I know that Tom Kitaguchi, for instance, who does a lot for the program, has a Warrior Nation fund. I know for a fact, because he's done this before and called out alums. He's had very few alums donate to his fund. And that is something that, obviously donation is up to you. And donating for me, I'm going to say, I'm not even saying you have to donate to the program because I have my own feelings about that already. I know if you donate to something like the Warrior Nation Fund, though, one good thing about the Warrior Nation Fund is that you can donate to a specific project. So the last Warrior Nation Fund money was Nick Rolovich used it to make improvements in the locker room. So that's one good thing about the Warrior Nation Fund. And it goes right back to the program for the team that you played for. So I know he's had some frustrations, and nobody will ever say this out loud. So I'll be the one to say it out loud, is that the alums, you're underrepresented when it comes to giving back in a lot of ways. And that is something that is an issue that needs to be not only talked about, but discussed as to how is that relationship with alums being nurtured as well. I know for me and from my program that I played for in college, I still get emails, still know when the alumni game is. The coach personally asks for video to send to the team before they go to the NCAA tournament. So that's the kind of relationship that a coach that I never even played under has with me. So that's different. And I know that goes back to how the team and the program is, because I've met former athletes, former student athletes, former players like Matthew Harding, and I'm going to use his name right now because he is a great athlete and I have a huge respect for him. And he was one of my favorite players. And I know Shane, we talk about him all the time, and Sean, because of how much he did in that era, Bob Wagner era. But there was a time when he was estranged from the program as well. And I talked to him in San Jose a few years ago because he didn't feel welcome there. And there was some internal struggle. So that's normal. I'm not saying that only at UH it happens, but we are such a small program that we can't afford it. And the reason that, we have content like this that we're putting out, like this podcast, is specifically to call out the fact that we're in a critical spot for our program, and that the changing landscape of NCAA athletics and collegiate athletics could put our program at a further disadvantage to where it already is at. If there is no if there is continued passive reliance on the way things have been done for centuries, basically, maybe for not centuries, decades at least, which is a long time. And we need to think forward. How can we think forward? And that one way is bringing together fans, bringing alums together. So that was a far digression. But in terms of back to this game, Shane, sorry, I took us on a huge journey, but with football and with this program particularly, I want us to be even more, and us meaning all of the really hardcore fans, being even more vocal on how we want to see the program being run. It's like people are being very vocal about Coach Graham, which they can be, and which I believe is very early for a coach to be going vocal, because like I said before, I don't see Coach Graham going anywhere after this year, at least. And neither do I see Dave Matlin going anywhere. And I see both of them. The way we talk about, and this is not picking on Dave Matlin, this is just holding people accountable who are stewards of the program. This is holding Ige accountable for the way he stewards the program. We don't mind going after him, or Blangiardi. People don't mind talking about Blangiardi, a literal legend in the UH football program, the guy who called the color analyst of the BYU games in 89 and 90. So Blangiardi is literally a freaking legend of UH football. So, and people are going out and calling him out, which maybe rightfully so. I don't know. I'm not saying they're not, but I'm saying, like, if we're so afraid, we're going to wait until then it's time to, when you feel like to call people out, it might be too long. We might have let the time go by where the program's gone already. And, I'm afraid that we could be at a much more of a deficit of fans even after this year. And that's something we'll talk about with the stadium. But Shane, go back to the San Jose State game. Shane, I know Hugh and I probably share a few expletives when the clock hit zero, or when that last 4th and down conversion, I believe it was, that we were down to, failed. But what are what was your gut reactions just after the game? And what do you now that you have a few days to think about it, how are you feeling now?
I'm still butthurt. To put it lightly, like you guys said, we had this game, man. Too many drops on both ends. And yes, I agree, our defense did ball out, but it's just frustrating when our defense decides to play super good. Our offense drops balls. They make critical mistakes at the wrong, that Jared Smart fumble. Oh, man, that was such a most inopportune fumble at the most inopportune time. And these drop passes, they're not just like minor kind drop passes. It's on third down conversions, or it's like big plays, and it's so frustrating. And I know everybody is on Twitter and stuff. We're all complaining about the play calling. And I mean, I'm not a coach, but to me, common sense is you gotta open up the playbook or be more creative or something, because this run, and then pass. It's just I don't understand. I don't understand how they could have moved the ball so well passing, and then all of a sudden he just run, punt. It's like, what are you doing? It's just I don't get it. And so I know Coach Graham, Todd, said he embraces the criticism.
I like that though. I like that.
Yeah, he wants to be at a program
Yeah.
where fans are passionate. And this game, even though it's a weak opponent, we need to win. If we lose this game, oh my God, the doo-doo's gonna definitely hit the fan. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
So, it's a big game. It's funny, as a UH fan, you see a big game and our opponent is New Mexico State, you know. But it is. It's a big game, man. We need this win.
Well, you know, when it comes to must-win games and must-win worthy opponents, we're usually good at that, at finding some of those. And this year we have a New Mexico State team that we're playing twice, a team that is a home dogs to us by double digits. So if that's not saying something about this New Mexico State team, I don't know what it is. And I hope we don't get overconfident. That's the last thing we can, do. But this New Mexico State team is obviously a team that we've played before, and it was in that era. I mean, I remember seeing Colt fling it across that New Mexico State Aggie logo. So a team that never beat us ever. As two. So yes, everything is seemingly in our favor. But Shane, what are some possible pitfalls, and what do you think that things that we could, that you've seen maybe not corrected or got worse maybe over the 4 games, or a part of a factor or a unit or something that you thought was going to be reliable? Not now, it's not as reliable anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's just the inconsistencies on both ends. Like I said before, when our defense plays good, our offense plays crappy. When our offense plays good, the defense gives big plays. So I don't see the consistency in our team as a whole, as far as the mistakes. And from a coaching standpoint too, I don't think the coaches are living up to their standards. It's just I'm very not very pleased or satisfied with the way the coaching has been going. And I know, when you say pitfall, Hawaii we're not like a strong road team. And for example, what was it, 2017, when we went up to UMass and had to win in the last second with the Tui Unga.
Yeah.
And UMass isn't a powerhouse either. They're kind of in the bottom.
Yeah, they were the worst team prior. Before that, they were the 130 out of 100.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember that.
So again, man, and we had to win on the last second touchdown. So I don't feel like super confident that this is a in the bag win. So we gotta play, man. And I think the trouble is the team's confidence level. I don't know how our confidence level is right now. So we need to man up, man. Man up.
What about you, Sean?
So yeah, I predicted that we would be at this point at 1-3 in the season, but I honestly thought we would be better on offense. I thought we'd be better on defense, and I thought we'd be better on special teams. So I mean, it's easy to criticize, but I mean, you look at the coordinator positions, and like, these aren't the guys that we had last year, in those positions. So I think the criticism is justified.
Yeah.
And you just look at there's no consistency across the game. from game to game. And I think, we just want consistency because that's the only way you're going to improve. So it now looks brilliant to schedule New Mexico State twice because, I mean, we need wins. We need to get some confidence. We got to win 6 out of 9 to play in the Hawaii Bowl. So, yeah, they gotta get it together and get it together fast.
Well, we can't speak too fast. We haven't beaten New Mexico State once yet, but I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, this will be nice to be able to have these two, especially if we played. So against San Jose State, we only scored 13 points, which is not good, but we did hold San Jose to 17 points, which is admirable, I think, which is something that is good. But like a lot of ways, like that one Chow year where we lost by a score, basically all the games, all 12, 13 games was one score games. I mean, It feels like that sometimes where it's like, what is it about the winning part? And a lot of that is, yes, the veteran leadership from the coaching part. And that's something in Hawaii that we let go, the nepotism, and we let pass bare resumes. I mean, and that's not only, like I said, on the team, but also in the athletic department. And that's why we have, a lot of, marketing and different initiatives that seem, old or antiquated, because we also have people that haven't gone to many other schools, which is important to see how things are done in other places. And that would certainly benefit Bo and Trent had they, and, I know that they've had football in their blood basically all their lives, but it's definitely difficult. And at least on defense, we've seen, a pretty good game, at least against the San Jose State team, but the offense is absolutely going to need to get into gear, especially because in Hawaii, that's what we are looking for. And that's what we've been talking about. And that's something that's kind of worrisome, but even at Coach Graham's press conference, when everybody was excited to talk about offense, because last time we saw Coach Graham on the same field as UH was him blowing us out in the Hawaii Bowl with Tulsa. And it was like, wow, this guy knows how to coach a team that scores a lot of points. But then he started talking about defense immediately, which is great because you need defense. Mm-hmm. But he certainly did not promise a high scoring. He promised high tempo and he promised
Where's that
play
at?
Action. Yeah. I mean, high tempo to the line and then you look to the sideline to
exactly.
So, I mean, we are getting what we maybe deserve because at UH, this is what we feel we deserve. We never feel that we deserve any better, right? When June Jones came, he told us we deserve better. We deserve a former NFL head coach as a defensive coordinator, not just anybody that came along. We deserve somebody with that much leadership and veteran knowledge and savvy, because a coordinator should be able to step right in too, right? Which is interesting too, because the associate head coach, I believe, is the strength and conditioning coach. So that is also, an interesting thing that Coach Graham has done as well, or assistant head coach, whatever his thing is. So Coach Graham definitely runs his ship the way he runs it, which is fine because he's a head coach, but definitely he has to answer to those things. So the criticism is warranted, absolutely. Whether it'll be something like a firing or something, I don't see that happening. But in terms of how vocal people have been about Coach Graham this quickly, are you surprised, Shane, to see that coming from the fan base?
No, not at all. Like how we all discussed the Sugar Bowl, and ever since the Sugar Bowl, so I said it was kind of detrimental to our program going to the Sugar Bowl, because now the fans, they expect that every year. Yeah. And now when they're just underachieving, it's, the fans, and I listened to fan phones for years, so I know how fans are. Yeah? When the team is underachieving, the fans are going to take it out. And I don't blame them. You go to any Division I program, if the fans are unhappy with the team, that's just the way the sports.
But even in Hawaii, I mean, Hawaii is not the way it is everywhere else, though. That's
that's true.
I mean, Hawaii people are a lot easier. I mean, let's be honest. We let a lot ride. We let people ride on us. We let administrators who we don't know ride on us, like Frazier, until, a few people, hooligans decide to start holding signs. I wonder where that person is now, what he's doing right now. But that guy, that kid in 2007 who held the Fire Herman Frazier sign, oh, that kid happened to be right by the end of the season. So maybe we should listen to that kid. I wonder where he is now. I wonder what he could be doing this day.
I heard he's doing all right.
I don't know. I doesn't like him, but I don't know. But no, I think what we have seen though in over time is that our program, we lose fans and they just go away. And if they complain, whatever, it is what it is. Some of them will complain anyways, but they'll always come back. But then the ones that don't come back, that's the ones we got to worry about. And that's the thing is like, if the fans are getting more vocal or if they are, if they are showing more displeasure, and is that going to turn into less people in the stands? Or because I mean, it's already been that way for a while now. So I'm not sure how much worse it can get, Sean. What were you going to say?
I think it comes from a place of frustration. I think people have kind of turned on Graham quicker because it's easier, because people are so frustrated with not being able to go to games, with how things have been handled that have affected UH, how the season has kind of played out. That there were sky high expectations before the season, and they really haven't lived up to those expectations. So I get it, and I like the fact that he kind of owned it. I think that's what a leader does.
I agree.
He says like it's on me. The buck stops here.
I agree.
I like that. So that kind of appeases me.
I agree too. I agree. And that Coach Graham
that?
Should be. Thank you for bringing that up. He should be commended for that. Yes, for saying that.
I mean, this dude's making $60,000 a year, and he should be held accountable for that. With the people that he's hired and promoted to run the offense and defense. So, I just want to say that I don't think he's going anywhere. We don't got the money to buy him out, so that's something that we're just going to have to deal with for the next 2 years. So, I mean, he's going to have 2 years to get it right. So, if he's looking to stay here long term, things are going to have to get better. So,
well, for sure, his coordinator choices were absolute, experiments for a lot of reasons, in terms of just two people really elevated to a spot that they've never been in before. And that's not to say that they're not ready for it. We're not saying that, but that's a lot of pressure for the coach too, to make those. He didn't even have one safe choice. It's like two, not only hard choices because, I hope they're hard, because first of all, hiring your family should be a very difficult thing to even accomplish at a public institution. But, he's able to pull it off a lot, and that's going to add to it. So yes, I think the criticism is there towards Bo, because he's got to generate results because of the situation and the circumstances. But like you said,
don't hold your breath for him firing those guys, because I don't think it's going to happen.
He might. I mean, he changed them after the first year, so I think in terms of he wouldn't go anywhere himself, so he needs to do what he needs to do. I don't think he's going to kick him off the staff, and I don't think he's kicked anybody out. I mean, everybody that's on the staff now from last year there were some that were demoted. It seems like right. Santa Cruz.
I think that's more likely to happen.
Yeah. No, exactly.
If they don't get it together, they'll just get demoted, and he'll take a more hands-on approach on either offense or defense. So.
Well, I mean, you need a strong offensive person. Like, and if coach himself says that, like that's what I'm saying. He himself has said that he's not an offense. He clearly could be probably an offensive coordinator anyways. But I'm saying like he knows that defense is like his calling card. That's what he enjoys. That's what he talks about all the time.
Yeah.
I've never heard him say like I love offense. I never heard him say he loves a certain kind of offense. He likes winning, so therefore he likes seeing his offense score points. But Todd Graham has not, since he's come to UH, ever been like super excited about offense, which literally we all are in Hawaii, because that's what we see. and that's what we're used to. So that was a red flag. And I'm talking about from his press conference. I'm not even talking about from last year. So we already knew this was going to happen, but of course we just sweep things under because that's how we are. And fans and media, especially media, because we need to keep storylines a certain way. That's why we don't talk about, the Jesus thing, which we brought up before as well, which also makes it difficult for him.
The hat came back. The hat's back.
The hat's back? Really?
Yeah, the hat's back.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. It's practice, whatever. It's faded, though. It's faded.
Yeah, get all the sweat stains.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those stains, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, so that, like I'm saying, he has a lot on his plate already, that Coach Graham is. So I think it's warranted that he does feel pressure because even, Rolovich, we compare with Rolovich, obviously his first year was literally 7-7, which is what Graham basically
that was the greatest 7-7 season of all time.
7-7 year ever. And we saw improvement. Like, we got blown out by Cal in Australia. We got blown out by Michigan 3 times over, 7 times over. That was one of those games that I literally mentally tapped out. To be sitting there. Well, I've done that already this year, UCLA and Oregon State. But to be sitting there and Michigan, it was like a twilight zone. Like, I just went into it outer, like literally a guy that was on the tour who graduated from Michigan was like, I'm gonna go look at my old dorm now because that's better right now than, and like that game, like, but I'm saying in UH we're used to that as fans, but it doesn't mean that we deserve that, first of all. And second of all, we always have to put those games in, we have to set those games, we have to treat those games differently from the conference games for sure. So we already experienced 2 of those games. The UCLA and Oregon State games are kind of, those are money games. Those are games that are fun, really. Those are like the bonus games, right? Like, if we are going to make a serious BCS run, you need to win both those games.
Fresno State beat UCLA.
Yeah, Fresno State is going to make a serious BCS run. Are we there? No, we're not. We're not even freaking close. And we beat Fresno last year, but they were a good team last year too that got better as the season went along. And that's the thing, is like, these games we need to win, yes, and we'd like to, but we've already set the program backward, and we've done this in the form of allowing our fan base to die slowly, and we know this because we had a 10-win season and nobody came, barely anybody showed up to those games. So I'm tired of people saying win and they're going to come. No, it's like, we're past that already. We need to do better marketing and they will come. It's so lazy to be like, win and then they'll come. Like, that's not what Graham's there to coach the team. He should be winning, but we're not worried about him bringing people to the stands. He should help. I really believe Graham got on the phone and called, literally spent a few minutes every day calling a few old time fans. He would get people to come back and donate. I guarantee that, because that's how Hawaii people are. They always react when they hear something like that. But look at our basketball team, and we talked about this before on this program. Is like, we've already FCS them already, moved them down, and now that our basketball team is not even top 100, top 150, there are 370 Division I basketball teams, and we're not even a top half. And so imagine translating that type of thing with basketball to the football field. We are going to be FCS. It feels like, in this current trend. So that's what's scary, because it feels like things are slipping from our grasp and people are upset and complaining, but they're not seeing the bigger picture, is that overall, we are not trending in the right direction. And with a lot of conference realignment and the changing landscape, and BYU and Houston now joining the Big 12, and now Boise is looking at going to the American. Sean talked about this, that could also affect, what Hawaii does as well.
I heard they might bring Colorado State. I've heard.
Yeah, they could. I mean, Colorado State's a great team, and they have the biggest budget in the Mountain West too.
They have the new stadium.
Yeah, so they have a new stadium.
They're in Colorado, the Denver market. So
yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of these, Hawaii's not being talked about anymore, about conference realignment, about moving up. So I mean, I'm sure we're gonna be okay with being in 9,000
Well,
stadium.
I think that with Hawaii, there's not many scenarios where we have a net gain. There's only one scenario where we stay where we're at, and then all the other ones is like we lose. So Dave Rudin had his article the other day about us going independent. So I'm not sure if I'm ready to go there yet.
What was his? I mean, I thought we should have went independent with BYU thing, just because we were starting to when BYU went independent, just because we were already basically groveling, like, oh, Mountain West, please, please, please take us. And then they would have taken us anyways, honestly. Like the market had shifted in our favor, but by that time we'd already groveled into the Mountain West, where we already agreed to subsidies. And then that spilled over into the Big West getting subsidies as well, which is ridiculous. I was saying at that point, okay, we might as well go independent at this point. But now we've seen it that BYU couldn't do it. And New Mexico State is struggling to do it as well. So, I mean, honestly, the thing is, you could go independent and just schedule everybody. But what are you playing for as well? What are you playing?
You're going to have body bag games and 2 games against New Mexico State. And like, who are you going to be playing in November?
No, it'll be the same schedule. It'll be the same schedules, probably the same guys. But what are we playing for anyways, though, at that point? What are we playing for? Like the national championship? Really? Positive? No, we're not playing for national championship. So, and that's the thing is like, we're not there, and BYU tried it and with their national contract even, but they, you know, it's rough. So, what do you think we should do, Shane? What would you say?
Yeah, I don't think independent is really the way to go now, especially the fact that we don't even know the situation with our stadium, and there's just so much unknown factors. So having to throw in realigning ourselves in the mix, oh God, it's just gonna cause so much more headache for the fan base, and just so the number one thing is just win. If we was consistently a good program with always get chance for a win, then we wouldn't be in the situation about no conference is gonna want us, and so just take it one step at a time and just start winning games, man. Be consistent, then things will fall into place. Just win.
Well, hopefully that's a very nice and flowery way of putting things. But you know, I think the way that we are now is that we're like in quicksand. We're just losing ground, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're not doing enough as a program to brand ourselves and to make ourselves more appealing to local people, to consumers on the island. And that's not the players' fault. That's not the coach's fault. They could help that. That's not their fault, because they don't have salaries that pay them to do those things like branding and marketing of the program. So that's another reason why we need to shift the focus on, and if the program's going to go somewhere, it's on the hands of people who have allowed it to go there. Absolutely. Who lack the vision to get it somewhere else. So that's where we are right now. But we also know that, you know, with the shifting ways with NIL legislation, with teams paying players, we might be forced into a different classification anyways. And I would love to have, if we're not in the FCS wouldn't be, the bad thing about FCS is that would really kill our program in terms of the fan base. Like a lot of people would lose interest for sure. More people listening. And I could see that coming. And I mean, but at least you could, you know, you could play for a championship, you know. I mean, that's one thing. And a national championship, you would think, you know, it's funny because it's like we went to the Big West for basketball and we're like, oh, every year we go in tournament now. No, we just got worse as a program. We just fell into the middle area, the gray area of a low Division I program, conference. So it's like we just went that with it instead of staying up there. So I could see the program falling, and we're already falling. I mean, we're in the mid pack of the Mountain West right now. So our low, actually, that's mid is being nice. We're in the low area part of the Mountain West. We're down there.
Not too many people are clamoring to add a team that's thousands of miles away from its nearest neighbor and that has a 9,000 seat stadium.
Yeah.
You know, somebody posted a picture of where San Jose State got ready for the game on Saturday, and it's like it's right in like the lobby of the baseball stadium. So I mean, it's like that kind of stuff. It's like embarrassing. So like it's frustrating to me that every time that there's a round of realignment, Hawaii is always in a down cycle.
Yeah.
Or like doesn't have its act together at that point in time. We always come off a high, and then we have a dip, and then there's musical chairs, and it's like, and we're left holding the bag, begging for stuff. So it's just super frustrating to me.
Yeah, and it's like we've seen this. I mean, Dick Tomey up, and then Dick Tomey gone, and then Bob Wagner. Then we had up, and a little bit down. Then we like fire Bob Wagner. All of a sudden, we didn't want him. Then we went way back down with freaking Von Oppen. Then we went to sky high to the ultimate peak of our program. And then it's been a decline ever since. And McMacken was just lucky to inherit the tail end of the June era, in which he, was okay with. I mean, he ended with a losing year in 6 and 7. That was his only losing year, but he had a great coordinators. Yeah, he had good he had a great program. I mean, he was so, and nobody was like saying it was already. See, I'm saying we were already going through quicksand. We were already grasping at straws, and then. Finally, and then with Norm Chow, obviously it was, I mean, we really killed ourselves. So, I mean, with Rolovich just pulling us out and then leaving, I think that's what hurt us. I think we really went back down, and Coach Graham is going to just have to pick up from there. And he won to me, a major trophy, but yeah, still a lot of people, they don't even know that there was a bowl game. Even Houston fans didn't know they were in a bowl. So, that is questioned as well, but we are in a down circle. It is what it is. But the stadium, one last thing I want to get to the stadium, like you said, 9,000, it's probably going to be, 15,000, probably going to be enough. Sadly, even if we stay in the Mountain West, even if everything stays the way it is, I don't know if we go into the new stadium, we're not going to be able to fill 35,000. So a lot of this, in my opinion, is something we've been talking about on this show for a long time. And we're seeing it manifest in real time, is the fact that the state is not allowing the school to do what the school wants to do. And that started a long time ago. And I talked about this last year when I first started this podcast on the importance of building that relationship between our school department, our athletic department, the state agency, like the Stadium Authority, and the governor's office and the legislature. But those relationships have clearly been neglected for so long that when it comes to time when we need them to do things like let people into the stadium, they don't care. It'll be like a no. I mean, if we had a different AD, it would be different. It would be. I mean, Dave Allen is very passive when he's coming to this, and it's not like he can do a lot. I'm not saying he can't, but there would be ADs that would be much. I know Ben would probably be a lot more vocal about this.
I agree with that.
Ben J, because it's just crazy. I'd be on there like, you're literally killing. That we need this, or I'd be like, it's unfortunate that the governor has chosen this path. So we look forward to seeing, our needs met in the next byline of the state budget next year, when it says emergency reconciliation funds for the athletic department because we didn't allow fans the year before. But of course, I'm not going to say anything like that, because there's no way they would challenge the governor. Oh my God, not here, not in this state. It's might as be Chairman Mao already. You're not going to challenge them. So that's what problem we have. But another sad thing is that the stadium is not going to get into the old stadium, which is sad ever again. But Shane,
I mean, this is the thing is, like, we're renters in the Mountain West. We don't own the stadium. They don't share revenue, and everybody else owns their house and is making money and investing in their product and their school. And we're the only ones that are paying travel subs. And, it's just frustrating. It's one state agency being a vampire off another state agency. And nowhere else do you have this. It's only here in Hawaii. So that's a huge obstacle to the program, to the fan base.
Well, we're not talking about that now because we don't pay rent anymore. So now we own the house. But are we going to go back to the old one, Shane?
That's what
stadium. Do you think?
I don't think we're gonna go back to the stadium. You see, they haven't even said anything about more developing plans, huh? It's just like
They haven't picked the developer.
It's just gonna take forever, man. It's just it's just so frustrating.
A lot of it lacks is because the people, you need to know sports. You need to love this and understand how it fits into the cultural fabric of society in Hawaii. And if UH football is not important and not relevant, then that's fine. Then they're going to let the program die.
Mhm.
I mean, then whatever. We should all just let it die. And then we can go on and we can just go to our NFL teams. You can go Seattle every weekend and watch the Seahawks play or something. You know what I mean? Like, we could do other things. We have other things to be fans of. But if you're not a fan and you're in charge, that's dangerous because you're not going to care as much. You're not going to be as passionate.
Exactly.
So, I'm hoping that things turn up for our program. I'm hoping that we have a win this weekend against New Mexico State. But last word, Sean, anything you wanted to say before we sign off?
Just shout out to Warrior Fan 07. Been talking to him on Twitter. Lots of good feedback. So appreciate the listen. Yes. Appreciate the downloads. So mahalo. Go Bows.
What about you, Shane?
We gotta figure out a way to get fans back in the stadium. I truly believe fans in the stands would have helped the outcome of this past Saturday's game.
Yes.
I saw Steven Tsai's post that fans in New Mexico State are not going to be mandated to wear masks or be vaccinated. So I'm like,
beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah. And I was trying to look for this post that somebody posted, like, that ever since I was reading it last night, that ever since college football started, and we thought that it was going to be super spreaders when we saw these crazy full stadiums, but all those places, the COVID rates have been decreasing. So it's like, it's just, my personality is, I'm fine with things happening as long as you give me a legitimate reason why things are happening, and we still haven't found like a legitimate explanation, and that's what's getting frustrating. So I miss the camaraderie with fans. I miss seeing you guys, watching a live game together. So that's one thing, and just I hope the play calling gets a little bit better, because we haven't talked about, can you guys explain to me why he uses Calvin Turner Jr. as a decoy to just run in the flat for no reason at all? I don't understand why he does that. It just makes
you
no
run
sense.
him out of the play.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So I just want to end with fans in the stands, better play calling, and Saturday is a big game, man. Just go Bows. Can't wait to see your videos, Wayne, of keeping us in touch with the live, what's going on live in the stadium. So we appreciate that, man. Can't wait to see it.
Well, thank you. And my journey begins tomorrow. I'm excited to go to the Las Cruces, also New El Paso, Texas area. So I'll be on El Paso, Texas tomorrow. I might go cross over into Ciudad Juarez, Mexico.
Nice.
We'll see if I do that. But in any case, check out our videos at HI Sports Fans on Twitter, on Instagram. Hawaii Sports Fans, look us on YouTube, on Facebook, and just send us an email, info@hisportsfans.com, or check us out, hisportsfans.com. Got some big news coming up. I got to get on my webmaster to get to his, kick him in the butt a little bit to get to editing. But that's also me, so it's hard to kick myself in the butt sometimes. But in any case, we'll see you all next time. Aloha.
Aloha.